Here we are in the engine room of what you don't normally see. It's all a mess. But today I'm going to be talking about integration of the 4xCCU router control that talks to Blackmagic Videohubs. And over here in the mess we have another video hub here, which is this one here, and we also have a 72x144 router which is sitting in some racks way over through the back there somewhere. I don't know if you can see it here. Way over the back there somewhere there's a Blackmagic broadcast video hub. But with the 4xCCU controller, you have the ability to be able to use a router or an aux bus on the ATEM to select the cameras that you want to preview when you're doing your CCU adjust. I've covered that before, but this particular video is going to specialise just on using the video hubs. Now up here I've got some control panels here. I've got a control panel here for the 72x144 broadcast video hub. I've got another control panel up here controlling a workgroup video hub, which is a 12x24, and I will be switching this control panel here to show you what's happening on this smart video hub 12x12. Now I'm just going to warn you now in respect to using video hubs as compared to using ATEM aux buses. The ATEM aux bus switches the cameras post-process, meaning the cameras come into the video hub, they come into the ATEM, they come into here, and then they get frame stored, so they all get all synchronized with each other. I won't go into how that works, but it's so basically when you're switching between the cameras, you're getting a glitch-free switch, meaning it's a nice clean cut between the cameras. This is all due to the frame stores that are built into the ATEMs. Video hubs traditionally don't have frame stores, so when you switch between sources on a video hub, you'll get an unclean cut, meaning it will lose sync momentarily. Now this really upsets HDMI monitors, and different monitors react differently. I'll give you an example. That's me just changing, and you see that's how long it's taken for that monitor to recover. What was that, 5 or 6 seconds? So different monitors react differently to losing sync. On here, for instance, I've got an old Sony tube monitor, which I still find the best for doing CCU control, but maybe I'm a bit old. And it has a much faster recovery, which you'll see shortly. I've also got an HDMI monitor up here on the same feed, but you'll see that. So what I'm saying is that you're going to get a black flash, and it's the duration of the black flash is going to change. But there is a solution, and it'll cost you money, and that solution is over here by Blackmagic, and it's called a Smart Video Hub Clean Switch. Now this basically is a normal video hub. It's the same as one I just showed you, the 12x12, but it's got the frame synchronizers built into all the inputs like the ATEMs have, and that allows you to then switch nice and clean. So if you're looking at using a video hub for doing your CCU monitoring, that's the one to look at. But maybe soon they might produce a 4x1 with the same features, which would be far more applicable for using the CCU controller. Anyhow, that was a 4-minute preamble on a subject I didn't particularly want to cover. But I'm just going to quickly show you this, and then I'm going to let you go back to whatever you're doing. So here I have this at the moment set to control a workgroup video hub, a 12x24 workgroup video hub, and I can obviously select what ATEM input each camera will control, but the monitoring is a totally separate setup. So I can tell it to say control cameras 1 to 4 on the ATEM, but I can tell it to use inputs 12, 13, 14 and 15 on a video hub. That's what's got to be considered, but it's all configurable, which I'll show you shortly. The other thing I've done here too, as I've explained, I've got 3 video hubs, 3 different types of video hubs sitting on the system, on the network, and at any time I can change between any of those 3 video hubs. And when you change and select a different video hub, it also preserves the configuration for that video hub. So if I've, say, got on the workgroup video hub, I've got inputs 1, 2, 3 and 4, then if I switch over to, say, the 72 or 144, I might have it on 61, 62, 63 and 64. So it will remember those and recall them and save them as you're using them. It also recalls and saves what you've chosen as your output bus, and also what your default cross points are if you're using toggle mode, which I've discussed in a previous video. So I'm just going to really quickly go over to the configuration window, and if I just type the letter S for status, it'll show you the current status of everything. And I've covered this before, but I just want to quickly show you. It tells you currently the router I'm using, the output of the router, and which is my labeling, which I've labeled. The labeling comes off the router itself. So whatever you label your router will show up here. It's telling me that I've got a 12 by 12 by 12, so that's a 12 by 24, and that's a workgroup video hub. And then down here further, it tells me the 4 CCU positions, what they're using as a switcher, which is a video hub, and what each of those 4 buttons will switch to on the video hub. And again, these are my labels. It then tells you whether you're in toggle, match or latch mode on the button control. It tells you if you're in if you're in toggle, what it will return back to. I can't remember. Oh, okay, there should be a space in there. I'll fix that. It's telling you what ATEM cross points you're using here. It's telling me I'm using 6, 7, 8 and 9. And then this last thing just tells you whether it's something I'll show you later on. You can actually, if you don't have an iris controllable lens, you can actually use the gain if you're using an ATEM camera. We won't cover that in this one. So all these parameters are all configurable, and we change them by going typing in Shift C or capital C. Then it comes in with these different menu items. So first of all, if we scroll down to Video Hub IP address and hit the right key, you can see currently it's telling us we're on a bit overexposed on that first one, but you can see you can go through and change it. So currently the workgroup video hub in here I have is on IP address 182. So I can change that if I want to change to another IP address, but I won't for the moment. So I'm just going to come out of there. We're going to scroll down to now this CCU ATEM source allocation. That's where you tell the 4x CCU controller which ATEM cameras these 4 buttons or these 4 positions are going to control. It shows also their tallies. The next item here, this is where you can select, we'll go into there, this is where you can select the 4 CCU positions default inputs once you take your finger off the push button. And all this is quite involved, so I'm not going to cover it here. I'm going to talk about it more, or I'll discuss it more in the user's guide. Router type, this is where we can go between a video hub ATEM or none. I've been thinking about using for the TVSs, using the preview bus as a router bus, but I've got to give that a bit more thought. So this is where we can change it none, so I'm just going to leave it at Videohub for the moment. Now this is the router bus. If you've selected ATEM, it's going to give you the choice of how many of the aux buses. So if you've got 6 aux buses, you can go auxes 1 to 6. But here, because we've got a router selected, we can go in here and we can actually change what output we want to use on your router. So from here, for instance, we've got 24 outputs. I can choose any one of those 24. And of course on the 72 by 144 we've got 144 different outputs. And on the 12 by 12, which we have over here, you've only got 12 outputs. So it will only allow you the selections that are available. It learns all that off the when it gets to download off the Videohub. Excuse me. Now we come out of there. Router sources again. This is where you can choose any one of your router inputs, and again on the 12 by 24 you've got 12 inputs. The 72 by 144 you've got 72 inputs. On the 12 by 12 you've only got 12 inputs. So this is where you can change them, and you can change one for each of the 4 positions. They don't have to be consecutive. You can be any input at all that's available. So that's basically all you need to know in respect to the configurations on the Videohubs, but they all integrate perfectly with the ATEM as an aux router if needed. So I'm just going to come out of that now. When you come out of configuration, it gives you an update of your configurations and such. Now, something that I covered in a video a long time ago in respect to the Grass Valley panel, where I did the Videohub integration for that. Whenever you connect to a Videohub, it needs to download all the data, meaning every single input name, every single output name, what each input is selected to which output, whether they're locked, not locked. Anyhow, there's just a huge amount of data, and the bigger the Videohub, the more the data. So when you change to like a smaller Videohub, like the Workgroup Videohub or the 12 by 12, it's relatively quick, but it's still got to download the data. And of course with the 72 by 144, it's got to download a lot. It takes about 20 seconds to download all the data from here, but it only has to do it once on power up. Once you're connected, it's all the updates are all done in small packets pertaining to whatever the update is. I'll give you an example of that. I'm just going to change over, so I'll just quickly show you while we're on here. We're on the 12 by 20, 12 by 24, and you can see up there it's changing. Focus. You see I'm pressing camera 1 button, which has got allocated that input number 1, and I take my finger off, and it's because I'm in toggle mode, it goes back to the default input. Same for camera B position or the CCU B position. There's the CCU C position and the CCU D position. And as I said, that's in toggle mode. Now, focus please, thank you very much. So I'm now going to switch over to the Workgroup Videohub, and the way we do that is we just go again configuration, and we're just going to get into the IP address. And as I said, when we change Videohubs, it's going to download all the new data. It's down to 120. I'm just looking at my notes here. 121. So it's going to download all the data from the Videohub, which is going to take about 20 seconds. And it also loads the configuration for the for that Videohub, so that it matches all the 4 CCU position buttons on the CCU controller. So I'm going to hit enter. It's saved. It's not going to do anything until I actually escape from configuration, because I might want to change some other things while I'm in here. But I'm going to hit escape, And you can see now it's initializing. And what we're seeing over here, it's actually giving you a progress between blocks. You can see every time it goes green, it changes to the next block. There's the data coming in the block. It's just giving you, I think these are bytes by 100 or 1,000 or something or other. So that's all the information coming in. It's just letting you know it's initializing, and it just, in case you've got lots of video hubs, it gives you a heads up on which particular one it's controlling. Once it's loaded, and that was about 20 seconds, it then now shows you all the configuration. Now it's totally changed. You can see now it's got a different destination, and all the cross points are all different, and the defaults are all different. And that's because we automatically loaded what I call the profile file. And in fact, I can show you those profile files. You can type in the command on the terminal, capital D for directory, and it shows you all the files that it's using. And you can see down here, down the bottom here, those profiles, PFL's profile. You can see in the actual name is from the last digit of the IP address. So these are the three video hubs that I'm using, and they're the profile names. So now we're over on using the 72 by 144 video hub, and without doing anything, all of this box now, all the buttons are all now controlling something different, and you can see that happening over here on that button, on that input called down converter 2. I've just got the output of the router going into a down converter and then coming back out to here, because this monitor here is only a standard def SDI in monitor, and you can see that the video assist is telling us that it's standard def. And I tell you what, there's nothing wrong with doing CCU control in standard def. In fact, sometimes it's better because it's not as distracting. And as I've explained before, this is designed to default back to what I've got as a quad split with my 4 sources on it. And as you can see, as I select a camera, it'll select that camera, and you can see it goes to black momentarily while the monitor resyncs. And I think the monitor resyncs a bit quicker than the video assist, but I take my finger off, it goes back, and you can see it recovered. It recovers a bit quicker than the video assist. I have experimented with different types of monitors, and you can actually get some HDI monitors that are really fast in recovering. So basically, that's now just using that. I've changed that IP address. This whole thing is reconfigured to use a totally different video hub, and we're going to do the same thing again now. I'm going to change over to the 12 by 24, and we're going to hit capital C for config. Change the IP address. Let's see if I can get in here close. Change the IP address to 110, I think it is. 110, yeah. 110. There you go. Now this is only a 12 by 12, so this should load much faster than what we did a moment ago with the 72 by 144. Going to now come out of there. You can see here it is now initializing, and it's done. That's much quicker, and that's the more practical router you would be using in a CCU controller, I would suggest. And now you can see again, these are all changed again. Each one of these routers has got totally different naming conventions, but it's adopted all the new naming conventions. Everything here is all applicable now to the 12 by 12 router over here, and I can now switch the buttons on the CCU controller, and you can see that's them switching now. You can hear me in the background pushing the buttons down, and that's it switching on the monitor. You can see up here the recovery is much better on that monitor. That's a smart scope. which is going to be a subject of one of my next videos, because the CSU 4x CSU controller is going to be controlling this little beast, and so you can see it's like less than half a second recovery time between those sources. So that would annoy me as a CSU operator. That would definitely annoy me, but I'm so used to having clean cuts between cameras. But it'll get the job done, and that's it. That was a lot I've covered there in a very short period of time. So thank you for watching.